Welcome to the Prompton Podcast, the podcast where we separate market myths and mortgage meltdowns and decode the fine print of real estate so you don't have to. I'm your host, James Walker, here to guide you through the twists and turns and occasional real estate horror stories. Ladies and gentlemen, buyers and sellers of all ages, welcome back to the Prompton Podcast, episode 6? Yeah, somewhere in there? 6 sounds right. I'm joined by, once again, the man with the most knowledge, Brian Higgins, the bad boy of mortgages, James DeVust.
Yep.
And today making his podcast appearance or his grand entrance, whatever you want to call it, Mauricio Vasquez? Vasquez, I got it. Mauricio is a realtor and property manager at Prompton. And tell us a bit about yourself, my friend.
I've been in the business for more than 10 years. I started as a property manager and then I become a realtor. I discovered a niche of luxury property management, and I dedicate more of managed luxury properties. I saw that the market was growing every year, and we is becoming more specialized in furnished rentals.
Oh, yeah. Furnished rentals then?
Yeah, furnished rentals. It's another option, right, that the property owners have as well, right? And then I discovered, being close to the film industry and corporations and insurance claims. They are the major clients from our portfolios.
Yeah, it's a lot more work though, a furnished property than your standard unfurnished property, right? You got to cut cutlery, you got to make sure the bed sheets aren't stained after whatever.
It has to be fully furnished, and also
Not maybe the first thing I'd go to. Okay,
that's my biggest fear.
Though. Where the iron is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's more detailed than that. Also, the property management is a little bit different.
Yep.
We deal with a different type of clients as well, very demanding clients. And
A lot of business people too, right? They come in, they want the place set up, they're good to go, my high-speed Wi-Fi ready, and
we see more companies coming like Amazon, right? So we have a newcomers here, CEOs coming for training for 3-6 months or projects for the SkyTrain, right? Engineers coming too.
That's why it costs $4 billion. Renting your places for a lot of money.
The rates are different.
How much more do you think you get for a furnished rental right now over a standard? Let's say one bedroom, unfurnished.
One bedroom
furnished.
can go between $3,500 to $4,500.
Oh yeah, so it makes a difference.
2 bedrooms can go for $4,500 to $20,000.
But what I always kind of told people as well is that you get more, but you will have lulls too, right?
No.
You don't think so right now?
No, we have developed a schedule where we know when the unit is going to be, empty. So we work against the vacancy and we cover that gap.
Yeah, look at you then. That's pretty good then. No, if you're getting that much for it, that's actually makes sense for investment then, right?
That's right.
Makes a lot more
Yeah,
sense.
this is 80% of my clients are investors. Yeah, we deal more with investors and overseas clients that have properties here in Vancouver.
Excellent. Well, that's a little about Mauricio. He also does the Harlequin novels on the side that your wife probably listens to, right?
Yes.
With that sexy voice. Anything exciting happened to you guys over the weekend? We had some beautiful weather. Anything? Okay, did anybody watch that Winnipeg game?
That was incredible.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I didn't catch the end of the third, but what did they score with 1.4 seconds left?
The odds of that winning that game, they had it at like 0.37.
99.4%.
It was absolutely
St.
crazy.
Louis Blues winning. I started watching it. It was kind of like cooking dinner and everything. It was the first period, and they went down 2-0. I was literally going to turn it off, and then I watched it. Then they scored with 1.6 seconds to go. It was amazing.
So we have every Canadian team that was in the first round made it through. Or no, Montreal's
except
out.
for Montreal, right? And they were playing
problem.
Carolina, and that's a
Canes.
tough team to beat, right?
Did you see the ice time that they were logging? Like, that's incredible. Was that
45 minutes, 60 minutes.
Pionk or whatever, it was like over 50 minutes in a game.
Exactly.
Like,
He set a record.
Yeah.
Set a record in franchise history.
I think we exited 74 or something like that way back for the Canucks.
He said that, but we got to verify that. We need a fact checker on that. Bieksa likes to talk about himself a bit in the highlight days of his life.
Yeah, he was decent with his King Kong shots at the Roxy.
Yeah.
Also, guys, that's hockey, but also the Whitecaps. I don't know if you know.
No, I don't follow Whitecaps at all. Tell me, soccer.
No, we are in the final on the
Really?
Cup. Yeah, we beat Miami.
Did Miami
Yeah,
win
Shut up.
last year?
Really?
In Miami. We are doing well now. Yeah. So
Isn't
we're very
Messi
excited.
on Miami? Isn't that what the
Yeah.
big thing
He-
was?
He got to play in Vancouver finally.
He played, right? Yeah.
Didn't do
So-
very much.
So,
So
who?
is this like the biggest thing that they could possibly achieve, and it's happening, and
Yeah.
nobody's heard about it?
Yeah.
Nice.
That's correct.
So what's the chances then? So who are they playing in the finals?
A Mexican team.
there's
I
no
can
chance
recall
then.
that. We'll see. We'll see. No, we play really well, so we'll see.
But Mexico knows their soccer.
Yeah. But no, we have a team. We have a team now, and so we are very
Crazy.
positive. And yeah,
Would it be amazing the Whitecaps won like a franchise, like the cup before the Canucks ever even do?
That's a good point.
I think we'll all be dead by the time.
I honestly, I don't think it's
I have
ever
no
gonna
hope
happen.
in my
We don't need to
lifetime.
turn into a sports podcast here, but my lord, there's a
Dumpster fire.
disaster.
But that's good opening for what is coming next year, right? The World Cup, the soccer World Cup here in.
That is next year, isn't it?
2026 summer,
You're
2026.
gonna have a lot of
Everyone
French
needs to
rentals.
rent with Mauricio.
Exactly.
Oh, that's what we're waiting for.
Yeah, no, you're gonna be lined up out the door to get in with you. So what's the day? It's May 7th?
May 6th.
May 6th? Okay, I can't keep a
Cinco
track.
de Mayo was yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, was it?
I thought it was today. Well, way off.
Hangovers today.
Is it today?
It's
Cinco de Mayo.
yesterday.
Yesterday, Cinco de Mayo was yesterday.
Oh, see, I can't keep up with that. It
5
was,
5 May.
it's May the 6th. 5th. The 6th, whatever. Star Wars thing.
4th.
No, that was on Sunday. Then May the 6th is the next day. Oh, hey, this is my life. Right now, it's May the 6th. So if you turn into the news, if you hear this, you're going to see that Trump is chatting with Carney. It's painful to hear. It's something. Brian, you were laughing about something, how Trump said that there's an imaginary line up front, up top.
Yeah, the border at the end of the day, and it would be cheaper, less taxes, and better healthcare if Canada just became part of the U.S. But Carney came back, so they'll debate back and forth online.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
You do a better Trump than I do.
Huge.
And then this is our Trump segment, I guess. Did you guys hear that he wants to reopen Alcatraz?
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, I've toured Alcatraz. That's gonna.
Have you toured it?
Yeah, I've been actually like.
Did
3
you
or
do like
4
the
times.
rock? The rock
Did
version?
everything.
Like-
Well, no, nobody jumped into the water and tried to break in.
But isn't there like one where like they show you like specific parts of like the Rock movie?
I think I don't know when I did. I think the last time I was there was probably like 90s when I traveled
Oh, a long
to
time ago.
Alcatraz.
Oh,
long
man,
time
you
ago.
made it
Maybe like I think
before.
that movie came out like 99.
It's
or
one of the greatest
early
movies
2000s.
ever made. So.
Well, it's great. They
Oh,
actually
it's
think it's the
my favorite.
secret Bond movie of the final of Sean Connery. There's a whole theory on it. It's actually pretty interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's
We gotta
and
share
read
that
it up.
article.
Yeah, and
Okay.
then watch the movie again. But he's got some crazy side quests of things he wants to do.
Oh, that would make sense. Oh, I gotta
Oh,
read
now you're
this
thinking about the
little-
Bond
Yeah.
theory? Yeah,
Yeah.
it does, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
I like that.
It was his
It's
like
an even better movie now.
It's an
You
even
just-
better movie.
You somehow made The Rock a better movie.
yeah, it's a great movie.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
There was a article as well that I saw. Have you guys seen, like, if you've ever looked at these new pictures of New York, and they're spectacular, and they're all, like the billionaire row going around
It's the Fifth Ave.
Central
Fifth Ave,
Park,
yeah.
right? It's all that area, right? And there's currently, and this, is anyone here scared of heights? Terrified, right? So there's these, they're called super talls. The big skinny towers they're building. They're not as wide as like the regular ones, but they're the super talls, right?
Yeah.
And currently the condo owners are suing the builder because here's the actual statement. The suit filed last month, the Supreme Court in Manhattan also names its defenders an engineering firm and an architectural firm tied to the building's construction. The condo board seeks damages exceeding $165 million, including I can't even say that word, diminution in value of the building as units. The lawsuit details nearly 1,900 defects that have emerged in the facet of the building, one of several slender apartment buildings known as super talls that document the blah, blah, blah. Anyways, the photos in the filing show vein-like cracks and chunks of concrete missing from the actual building right now. It's like literally crumbling.
But isn't like I thought New York was actually, with all the weight of all the buildings that they built, it's actually sinking. I mean, now you go to Miami, they have a similar issue. Well, Miami's underwater.
Well, yeah.
Right? So Miami
We'll be
floods.
underwater.
Will it be
Mexico
underwater?
City's shrinking, like it's going
Yeah.
into the viaduct or aqueduct, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right?
So it's like all these major. I mean, is it really that surprising?
Then there's another building in New York, another super tall that's had the
Yo, it's
construction.
Yeah, it's
leaning,
sinking. It's
right?
leaning. Yeah, so they got one of those. It seems to me that Dubai is the only one that knows how to build super tall buildings and not have any issues.
That's like their jam over there.
I mean, they're building it on
Are they
sand.
building like some $3 trillion like super city?
Skinny still, like you live within the walls of the city. It's like something in a sci-fi movie.
It's like kind of my nightmare too, though. Like,
But they're working on it. Like,
But
construction is moving.
Is it?
Yep.
Look at concrete in Vancouver. Look at concrete used in the 60s and concrete used in current day.
Yeah.
Right? So
Well,
you add additives and everything else.
Yeah.
Anyone that knows concrete, it's tough because I think, what was used maybe in other regions or other countries is probably a superior product than some of the concrete that's used in North
How
America.
fast is it set these days? Like you see these buildings going up. It's like
I mean,
every day.
If you
floor
talk
every
to any
7 days.
contractor, realistically, if you're pouring a floor a week, you're on schedule.
floor a week. Eh?
Floor week.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought it up because the idea, and I guess like J Lo and who's the big.
They have property there.
Yeah, J Lo's got a property. Who's the big New York Yankees player?
A-Rod?
A-Rod or whatever. They all got own properties there, and this place is crumbling to the ground. It just made my stomach
But it's also easy to point fingers when things didn't go well.
Yeah.
Right? And you have to keep in mind, look at the amount of Vancouver developers that have tried to do things over the border and realize how litigious the States is and ended up packing bags and coming back. Outside of Bosa having success in San Diego, I haven't seen too many Vancouver developers that have
I think
tried to
Bose
go
is
over the
doing
border.
love in LA right now.
Also, Oni in
It's
in
Oni
LA.
in LA.
It's Oni in LA.
But how many are being successful, though?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't follow their track numbers in LA. We should
Look at
follow up
how
on
many
that.
Seattle projects have turned into rental because they realized that the litigious nature
Concord has one for a perfect example.
rental.
Yep.
And that
Started
was-
off as I believe Strata. Well,
They all
more
did,
association,
and
yeah.
they've all had to pivot at the
Yeah.
end of the day. So they start to realize that the risk is greater than they realize.
I still think people want to live downtown there as well. I want to be on the
location
suburbs
is
and-
downtown.
Yeah, right.
Bellevue is beautiful.
Sure, if you're Bill Gates and you own a $1 billion house there, right?
There's lots of towers in Bellevue too.
Have you ever hit that traffic down there?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's brutal. I remember at a seminar I had to go to, and I checked the night before. I'm like, yeah, it'll take me 2 hours to get there. And I woke up in the morning, and I didn't think, and it was like 5 hours. I missed the entire thing. I still went. Not the best use of time I've ever had. Opinion piece. Rate the current market, on a scale of 1 to 10. We're going to do a round table. And then I want to hear what you think the market will be like in fall on a scale of 1 to 10. We're going to start with James.
What do we like? What's the rating of 1 and what's the rating of 10?
1 being it's devastating shithole. 10 being things are great. We're back to the gravy train. Things are flying off the market. Line up around the corners for pre-sales again. Multiple offers.
Yeah, I'll like from the financing side.
That's your niche.
Yeah, that's my side. There's activity. We got 4 purchases last Sunday. All of them are going through. There's a variety of different, some was leasehold in Kelowna, and then, single family and townhouse product, condo product for a lot of first-time buyers. A lot of people are kind of like looking to move up right now because the price is suppressed. So I'd say like from the mortgage side, you're probably sitting at like 50% in the sense of there is still movement, that people are still, they're very curious.
Do you find people are holding still? The holding pattern of
Yeah,
mortgages?
I think BMO had said the latest stat is 60% of people have the let's wait and see approach. My clientele is not, they see opportunity. Now, where I think it's going to be in the fall.
Well, you got to give it a rating first.
I'd give the current market's like a 5.
Okay.
Still activity, slow, cautious. But where I see us in the fall, if we look at, we haven't had this much supply since 2019 and it's growing. I believe there's 3,500 units coming on in Vancouver for completions this year. So there's going to be more supply, predominantly from pre-sale. Couple that with falling rates. I believe this tariff thing is just all smoke and mirrors. I think it's absolute garbage. And they'll negotiate a deal. He wants CUSMA renegotiated. They'll look at doing that quicker. They'll take some tariffs off for access to dairy, potentially banking. You could see an 8. Because when you look
In the fall. Okay.
Because when you see rates low, supply high, with no prospects on the horizon, it's a perfect time to buy.
Yeah.
So that's what I see.
If people are willing to
But,
accept the price they're.
I think never before has a quote been better than Warren Buffett's quote of be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. Because right now everybody's fearful.
That's inspiring.
It is. And I just look at it saying, how many people are clamoring to get in the housing market, home ownership across Canada. The numbers are actually declining. And you're looking at this opportunity put in front of you. Just there's so much supply, and there is going to be no new supply in the foreseeable future. And rates are going to get cheaper as soon as the as soon as the U.S. Fed cuts, you'll see fixed rates come down. Bank of Canada is still going to cut. We're full blown recession or technical or however deep you want it. But yeah, I see if you get rates at under 3.5%, it's game on.
And you still think that it's a variable market?
Right now it is just because
give a quick little update each week.
Yeah, I would say right now variables are still leading the way because you're on the heels of 2 more cuts. The markets have priced in cuts to 2.25. Which means you're going to get a variable rate today at 4.5%. It'll be 4% potentially by July, and that's assuming no recession, right? Now take off another 50 points, you're 3.5, and I would still lead with variable. I just don't think fixed rates are there yet. You really need direction from the U.S. Fed and their meetings tomorrow. So
long story. And what do you think?
Holding.
I think they're going to hold. I mean, they
just to screw Trump regardless. Like,
yeah,
think they should.
But it's kind of like, what are you holding for? Because they've lost so many jobs, their economy's on the downturn, and I think they kind of want to do that. Yeah, I think everybody wants a recession right now. At least the world leaders, they're not so upset about it. You got to claw some of this money back out of the system. It's just. It's how and when you're going to come out is I think the crystal ball question. But if we're just looking at rates, I remember 2020 and it was March when they did the first big cut. Not a lot of movement. April, we had clients being like, what are the rates? We're like, yeah, they're like,
it's free money.
$2.99. Variables are like, $2.01, and they're like, okay. And it was like boom, and they just hit and they went out, and then it was this crazy ride for us until August of 2022, and then it was like off a cliff.
Trudeau stands up on camera and says we're going to keep rates low for a long time.
Well, that was Tiff Macklem, so he's got a lot to make up for, and I think he'll just come back in June and cut. Reading between the lines in the last announcement, I don't think he wanted to influence the election either way, but Canada.
Is that before or after Trudeau talked about water in a cardboard juice box or something?
Yeah. Honestly, it was a dark period.
Okay, so long story short, you're gonna give it a 5 and an 8. 5 and an 8. Okay, Mauricio, hotspot.
I will do 6 and 8, based on my experience as a realtor.
And also your rental furnished. Like, are you finding a healthy rental furnished market right now? 100%. Do you think it's going to increase?
Yeah, this is the busiest time for us. It starts in May until September. That has always been busy, and I haven't seen any change.
Because this is when you want to be in Vancouver. It's actually the sun's out. It's not 19 days straight of rain.
Foreigners can't buy, so they have to rent.
True, right?
Well,
so
does that change?
And when you come up here with your U.S. dollar, you're like $1,900, $3,500. That's
30% off.
$20 for me.
That's another
U.S.
aspect.
money, right?
It's pretty cheap for them. It's very affordable for them as well.
So this is your busiest time right now, May to September.
May to September, yeah.
It makes sense because this is what, like I said, it's when you want to be here. The sun's out, the fun's out. This is when the city actually wakes up, comes out from.
Correct, and then we see change in the weather right now. We're having a really good weather, right?
This is the first no sock.
Look at this guy.
We got the same swag going on, right? Aren't you hot today?
No, this is the linen silk blend, man. I'm great.
Oh, you're just so
Miami Vice style.
Attire.
Exactly. Air just deflects off them. Okay, so you got a 6 right now. You think it's a 6, and this even on real estate.
In my real estate,
you've got actually a good amount of deals.
Yeah, so
lately, right?
I have a multiple offer yesterday.
Yeah, really.
And it's brand new listing.
Can you tell us the product without too much details?
Detached. West Vancouver.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
That's a steal right now. There is
Really?
some deals in West Vancouver.
This is the thing, right? Like, we see now a movement, right?
Is this a listing you just did?
Yes.
Oh, really? Okay.
Accepted offer. I need to discuss some
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Anyways, so in my own experience, I think the market we're gonna see more action.
That didn't sell before, right?
No.
And then how much of a price correction did you give it? 100?
We listed like 200.
Okay, so you just had to get into that market of where
Yeah.
people want it.
like we discussed with Brian many times, is we need to educate the property owners about pricing. Pricing is key, right?
Absolutely.
To be realistic about the market.
Pricing's always key. I'll buy shit on Amazon if it's like at 50% lightning down. I don't even need it. Stuff like sits in my closet. I'm like, but it was free,
Right.
right?
Right.
So it's just all about price.
And in our business, everyone have a different story. Everyone have a different motivation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need to connect with that, understand, and then talk about it, and be realistic about, if you want results, listen to us.
We gotta use them in like audible books about like real estate, just like chatting about it, right? The silky voice.
So, anyways, I think we're gonna see more movement definitely in the inventory that we have, and that's why I feel very positive about this summer and
Beautiful.
And
And there's more events and stuff happening, drawing people to Vancouver for the furnished rentals, right?
Absolutely. I can disclose that one of the offers that we have was a cash offer from mainland China.
Okay, good.
So they're still coming here. They're here. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
They're here, they got their money and they want to spend, right?
Yeah.
Brian, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, normal markets at the end of the day. It's not unsimilar to what was 2012. It's not unsimilar to what was 2019. So
At the point, though, nothing really slows you down, though, right? You just kind of...
Yeah, I think the only challenge is some expectations out there between where the market's willing to pay and what sellers would like to get. But I mean, I think you're seeing a bit of rejigging in the higher end of the market, and maybe some of those sellers getting more realistic if they actually want to be sold. But overall, I mean, it's a very normal market. Buyers are out. It's what I would term end users looking for their own homes. It's not investor driven right now. So I think for the end user, it's nice because, hey, if you're looking for a 1-bedroom in Yaletown, or you're looking for a house in North Van, you're looking for a house in West Van. I mean, you look at the deals in West Van right now. West Van's cheaper than Lynn Valley.
Yep.
Right?
Really?
So West Van is cheaper than Lynn Valley.
And Lynn Valley's beautiful, but West Van's always been this
It's West Vancouver. I mean, it's the cat's ass. Yeah.
It's always
Well,
sunny.
the
in
money
West Van.
deflects the cloud away, right?
But keep in mind, what are families looking for? They're looking for community.
Yeah.
Right? So it's
And West
different,
Van's a bit of a hollow shell of what it used to be,
right?
definitely.
Yeah. So, yeah. Valid.
James' optimism comes through.
Yeah, no, but it's true. I think you look
Debbie
at
Downer.
I mean, we just listed a house in Shaughnessy this week. It's cheaper than Edgemont Village. First Shaughnessy,
Yeah.
11,000 square foot lot on a tawny tree-lined street in First Shaughnessy, and we're priced a little over $4 million. There's houses in Edgemont that are listed over $6 million right now.
Really?
Yeah.
So I think that.
When
I
did
saw
First
that.
Shaughnessy become cheaper? When did West Vancouver become cheaper?
Yeah.
When
So-
did Shaughnessy become so expensive? Right? Like, yeah, it's nice. Don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful place to
Oh,
live.
come on. I mean, you go around the Crescent. I mean, this is like the industrialists from back in the 1900s. These are the most storied estate properties in the city.
Sure.
And then Point Grey Road came and had its play, and West
Absolutely.
Vancouver had its play, and the stock market and the stock guys loved West Van and that sort of stuff. I mean, it is south facing.
Everybody just wanted to say they were in West Van. Like,
But-
it was such a statement piece for many years. Right?
Yeah, for sure. But I think you're just seeing rejigging in the markets. But again, that doesn't mean that the market is dire out there. And certain assets are selling very well. Like Mauricio had multiple offers. I think at the end of the day, buyers are out there. They don't need to feel a deal, but they need to feel that the deal is fair.
Fair.
And that's one of the challenges right now, is that some of the expectations that sellers have, you can't look at numbers in 2018. You can't look at numbers in 2021. You have to look at numbers today. And if you can be realistic where the value actually sits in today's market, you're going to sell within a month. But if you want to sit 10, 15 points above the market thinking of yesterday's number, well, you're probably not going to
And
sell.
you always hear these people, well, back last year I received an offer for this much. Yeah, and they pulled the plug because they were overpaying, and you're not in that market anymore.
And
so you're not going to get that.
Just to James's comment too, I mean, the governments around the world flooded the monetary markets with cheap money during COVID. And so since basically late spring of 2022, we've been feeling that pullback, the inflationary time, is that money has come out of the markets. And so therefore people are just readjusting their wants, their expectations, their desires, and what they can afford.
Yeah. Well, let's talk quickly. Another opinion piece. The latest Snap Stats came out. If you know what Snap Stats are, they're an independent source of real estate data that gets derived from the Greater Vancouver Real Estate Board, or GVR, and they're just quick and dirty stats. So we're just going to go through quickly, because you get your Apple News, you get whatever, probably Apple News as well, Globe and Mail, whatever it is, and I know that if I'm a Google man, if I swipe right, it goes to my Google feed, and every frickin' news story in my thing right now is about the doom and gloom of the real estate market. But primarily, if you read through, it's Toronto. Like, go on.
Yeah, I said this like, I don't know, 5 podcasts ago. I'd been saying it for a long time. Toronto just built wrong type of housing.
We're going to get to that in the next story.
And when you look at the housing they built, 500, sub 400 or sub 500 square feet, they built for investors prior to them having their foreigner ban, and those towers were already well on their way, sold. Now you're seeing people walk away. But it's also this expectation. I mean, we saw it in Vancouver. It was like, I'll buy a condo, I'm going to make $200,000 in 4 years, and I'm going to sail off into the sunset. It's like, what are you talking about?
Well, it was a guarantee.
Yeah, well,
for
back
years,
then it was.
yeah.
I mean, I think the last time that market existed outside of whatever 21 and 22 was. I mean, that was not
2016.
normal. Well, yeah, I mean, 2016, and I comment on that because
That's
I bought a pre-sale in 2016 in Burquitlam. Taxes all in, storage locker, parking installed, 26th floor, 556 square feet, all taxes in, it was $300,000.
Jesus.
And I'm looking at that, and now you look at Burquitlam, like, good luck finding that for less than
Sub
6.
800? Oh, I was gonna
right?
say.
Yeah, I mean, the smaller units, go for less, but I think the bigger idea is they build for investors that are gone. End users don't want to live in that unless they buy 2 and blow a wall, like merge a bunch of suites, which they may need to do.
You go through some of these new units, you can't even fit like a queen bed. It's a double or smaller in there.
Yeah,
right? They're so small.
Yeah, and you look at what city built that in Vancouver? Surrey.
Yep.
And who's having problems? Surrey. Right, and that's where you really need to be logical, and it's like all of my clients are end users. To Brian's comments, that are looking for money. Not a single person is looking to buy an investment. They're looking to sell and move up the property ladder because there isn't, in my opinion, a better time.
Exactly.
And trying to time the bottom, you're going to miss it. By the time it's going down, it's like, no, it's already up.
Catching that's impossible.
Yeah.
You always have those jerks that do catch it somehow. Luckily, right?
Yeah.
They sell.
There's always going to be those, but at the end of the day, it's time in the market. It's not timing the market.
Yep.
Exactly.
So as we go through here, so like I was saying, you hear all doom and gloom from Toronto, but we want to be somewhat optimistic on this. So we just want to share some numbers here with you. So if you're looking to buy right now a condo, we're just talking about condos right now. We're talking Cole Harbour. Currently, there's an inventory of 170 units, and there was 11 sales last month. That gives you a 6% sales ratio, which is a huge buyer's market right now. Downtown,
That's a pretty tough stat, though, because you're not splitting that into price points. That's the challenge on generalized board stats.
But still, downtown Vancouver, 572 listings, right? 572 active right now, 62 sales, 11% sales ratio, right? So that's downtown Vancouver. The West End, which is always just the West End, right? It's such a weird market there. 258 inventory right now, 50 sales, 19% sales ratio. We all know West End's quite pricey.
The problem in the West End is that there's not a lot of product. You have a lot of REITs that own the various rental towers, so it's tough because you've got co-ops, you've got some leasehold, you've got different things over there. So the West End is a tough market to derive data off of that actually makes sense.
Like I said, every unit it's unique, right? They're old buildings.
So what's
big.
a seller's market? What is that ratio?
20% and over.
20%. So
And anything sub 10
West
is,
End theoretically is
West End is right on that cusp, right?
Okay.
But once again, we're talking price. I still think the West End is going to be super overpriced, no matter what you look at there.
But keep in mind, there's deals in the West End on some of those co-ops that are like $300,000. Yeah. So I would be curious on what the average is. And again, generalized stats are tough.
But they're not as doomy and gloomy as
it's a very normal market right now.
I don't know let's see if I can get to North Bank. In Yaletown, our bread and butter here, where we're located.
Guess would be 16%.
You're right, so close. 293 inventory, 54 sales, 18% sales ratio.
Oh, wow.
Right? So you're right in that bread and butter area. Now, the highest sales ratio was 1.2 to 1.5 or 500 to 600, if you can get those. But there was only, there's 117 inventory and 22 sold between 500 and 600. That's still your bread and butter. Now, you were talking, let's see if we can get there, Vancouver East Side, North Vancouver. And this is for condos, because I'm just going to stick with that. Mm-hmm. Currently, you're looking at a sales list by, inventory, 14% sales ratio.
14%.
Yeah. So, and they're also selling for 1% over list price compared to Vancouver, which is selling on average. I saw this little stat
community,
here.
lifestyle, safety.
Yeah, which is selling on average 3% below list price, right? So, big difference there. Last opinion piece. We have I always bring this guy up, but Ron Butler.
He's a beauty.
Ron the Mortgage, he is a beauty. So I wanted to bring him up. Mauricio, do you know him? He's Ron the Mortgage guy.
No, please.
If you don't follow him on Instagram, please do.
Honestly, it's a great morning.
It's great.
I watch it every morning just because
I'm going to.
The guy does not care. It's awesome, but he has great advice.
Yeah. And he's jiggling neck and he's talking and he's just a great guy. But anyways, Ron the Mortgage guy, he was talking about as Ron Butler, the principal broker, Butler Mortgage, told BNN Bloomberg in a Monday interview, like this is all from his Instagram. He gets this stuff, right?
But Ron's been around. I mean, like Ron, I would probably peg at 60 plus.
Sure.
Which means he probably got into it as 20. Like, I mean, I got into it 26. I'm in my 15th year. He's probably in his like 30 to 40th year.
He's
so the guy is well versed on everything that's happened.
Book, and now he's having fun getting out on social media.
He does good at it, right?
Yeah.
As you would say, being in a Monday interview, he says that Toronto currently has about 1 full year of inventory, and that seems to continue up and up in the undetermined listings. There's really no sign of it going to level off, and there's going to be any reduction in the near term. Butler says there's been severe overbuilding, which is what, James, you were talking about, in them building these condos are specifically for investors where you're going to churn through the highest rent. There's no way you're going to live there, but you're just going to sink your money into it, make $200,000, sell it for 4 years, move on, highest rent possible, don't put a penny into it, this whole dream that people had.
Never qualified on the initial purchase either.
Exactly. And Ron actually talks so much about the mortgage side of it that do you deal with this a lot where people come up to you and they're like, hey, James, I want a mortgage for, well, if they're doing investment, which primarily are, and they're like, yeah, but I'm not going to live in it. But we're just going to tell them we are.
All the time. And like, we go to them and saying, okay, so I always say, talk to the client and say, so how am I going to explain to the bank you're moving from a single family of 3,500 feet to 630 feet?
Yeah.
Like, can we just tell what's the story behind it? Is there a divorce, separation? And I mean, those are logical reasons as to somebody would buy it, but then prove it. But yeah, I mean, you get I want to create my real estate empire and we're going to buy 30 properties. They're like, just going to hold you there. Banks only allow 5 doors. On exception, they're 10. And then after 10, you're into a commercial borrower and it's not going to happen.
Is this the United States then? You see all these jackasses who are like, I owned 15 homes by the time I was 15, right? Like,
it's these portfolio guys in the U.S. I think there's specifically, it's this guy, he's a Canadian living in Florida.
They make fun of him.
He's like, I bought my 30th home. And I'm like, cool. You can't do it here. You're a commercial borrower, but it's like the capital you would need to acquire that many condos. Like in the 90s, easy because some of these condos were like $100,000, and you can put the down payment on a credit card and do a 95% GMAC line of credit, and it's like, it doubled. Oh, okay, so I'm just going to refinance to 95%. I'm going to buy 3 more. Blah blah blah. It's impossible. And so for the people that have accomplished that, it's like round of applause. You've done something that we will never be able to do ever.
Oh well.
So it's yes, we do get that, and it's just.
Jamie, we got to shut down. My second YouTube channel is going to create about how to buy 50 properties with wealth and,
Yeah, but charge $2,500 in order to enter the class through Zoom, and you'll sail off into the sunset.
Still do it. They just still offer it. And then they'll call you and be like, who told you this?
Yeah,
James Walker, managing broker property. He said I can get a line of credit. I can buy 50 properties in Vancouver and rent them all out, furnished to Mauricio.
In reality, it's like in United States, and Brian, I don't know if you want to talk about your trip coming up. The economy there is different, right?
Totally.
And the banking is different. Mm-hmm. And the projects are different, so it's...
Well, me and Mauricio could know about banking.
It's the population, though, right? Like, you look at Canada, like, their population's like 10x.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So it's like 10x, the people, the banks, the capital, they're the number 1 economy in the world. Canada is next to Luxembourg. Keep on saying that. So it's like...
That stat really bothers you, doesn't it?
It does, because Luxembourg's export is banking and stolen art. And we're like the largest resource country in the world, and we're just like
stolen
shaking my head.
Thank goodness.
Isn't Luxembourg one of the places you hide your money if you did something bad?
Yeah,
Like if you
it's
rank-
the whole point of Luxembourg.
Yeah.
It's like
If you,
they
rob
export
a bank and
banking.
ship your money to Luxembourg.
Yeah, well, I mean, do what the Prime Minister of Canada now has. Let's all get offshore accounts. Do as I say, not as I do. But I
Well,
think
when
we
I
should
do
all get
my
offshore
fake
accounts.
YouTube Zoom channel about how to make wealth, I'll stick my money in Luxembourg, and no one.
Well, I mean, why don't we just Bahamas? That's where Carney has his 30 companies. Let's just do what he does. Right? No, he said it's
thank goodness for
okay.
Daniel Smith.
Oh, Iron Lady of Canada.
Well, okay, let's touch base. I know you guys are both itching to. So, what was this whole thing about? I didn't know. I didn't read this.
So basically, she came out yesterday and
She was very well spoken. It was
exceptionally
very educated manner.
calm
Yeah.
and very pointed. But she has.
What's her point? Because Alberta's going to leave Canada or something.
What's her point is the Liberal rule over the prior 10 years decimated Alberta.
Yes,
And
without a doubt.
Alberta has been one of the greatest providers to the Canadian GDP for almost a century now.
The transfer payments to Ontario and Quebec, they basically prop up those two provinces.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's Alberta is finally coming.
Because we're not
out.
doing pipelines, we're not doing energy, we're not doing
And
oil.
She has a
we're-
list of demands saying, you do this for us. We're going to put a referendum forward in 2026. And if the people of Alberta put forward a separatist vote, we will, respect.
We will respect
at the
and
end
leave.
of the day.
That would make it super weird to travel from BC to Saskatchewan.
I think if Alberta went forward, Saskatchewan wouldn't be far to follow.
You don't think so?
Yeah,
Right?
no,
At the end of it,
they would.
I would
they
think
would
the
jump
whole
right
West
in.
should be, it's gonna be an
It's been
interesting
talked
couple
about.
years.
I remember hearing about this in school.
At the end of the day, I mean, James can speak well into it.
I mean, if we look at the three, Ontario in terms of contribution, but you look at British Columbia in terms of resources, so LNG and all the lumber, Alberta's all the oil, Saskatchewan's all the canola and all the uranium. You look at those three provinces together, it makes a point that, if you were to separate, you would need BC, because now BC, you get a clean shot between Alaska and Washington State. But to Brian's comment, separatism is also running strong in Saskatchewan. They also are actually, they're polling higher in Saskatchewan to leave. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see a vote across both. But I think the most interesting thing she said was about the transfer payments, right? They pay Ottawa then pays back. BC gets zero, Alberta gets zero, Saskatchewan gets zero. So your three largest resource-based provinces who contribute the most to the transfer payments get nothing. She basically said, no, Ontario and Quebec can take care of themselves, and that was never the point of transfer payments. It was to take care of, PEI, New Brunswick, and these smaller places that need
lobster
help.
and whatever they're.
Yeah, right. Industry that needs help, but they're like, no, we want our money back because we need to take that money and reinvest it back in Alberta and our resources and healthcare and infrastructure and all this other stuff. So it's the carrot and stick. I don't think is oil. I think for Danielle Smith, it will be, I will cut you off, and then you're going to have to go to your voters in Quebec and tell them why they're now their budget is completely crashed and they're bankrupt.
Why you have energy?
Quebec already wants to leave anyway.
So what I actually think is I mean, her negotiation tactic is she's got a gun to his head, and he's going to have to yield on every single thing she said, because the transfer payments alone would absolutely cripple Quebec. It would severely hurt Ontario, especially as you have aluminum tariffs. I think they have 7 smelters in Ontario. I think there's about 6 in Montreal or Quebec. And
know this stuff?
It's weird. And I look at it saying, like, she cuts transfer payments off now during a tariff war and a recession. That's her bargaining chip. And for me, I think Carney will yield on every single thing she is requesting, because if she doesn't, it's, no more money. And he will lose all the voters in Ontario and Quebec, because then they're going to say, we got dust bales in our province, our condo market's collapsed, everybody's bankrupt, can't afford food, and everybody's retreating out of Ontario or looking to move out of Quebec. Now you're going to swing all the seats back to the Conservatives.
It's like a rich kid getting shut up.
It's quite interesting, but I think he'll yield on it. I think he'll yield on everything. If he doesn't, you get ready for some interesting times.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, the popcorn. Yeah. I mean, she's been I think the most outspoken leader, and she's very pointed in how she comes across. And at the end of the day, I absolutely respect what she's doing for the people of Alberta and hopefully for other Canadian provinces.
Yeah, and follow up. Yeah.
All right, there you go. We had to get that out there. I think that's been about 45 minutes. I don't think we're going to get to our email listener segment today. I think we're good. I actually have to get to an interview, and you got to get to a FinTrack meeting because of all the
more updates.
dirty money laundering.
There's no money in the country. We're broke. It's all government money. You can just
It's
find
all to buy 50 condos.
It's all those
okay?
rebate checks.
As Danielle Smith said in her pod or on the YouTube, I mean, you look at the amount of money that has not come into Canada because of what has gone on by the Liberal government at the end of the day.
Half a trillion. But in all
We're not
honesty,
sponsored by the Conservatives, by the way.
no, I'm just
No, but we are
political allegiances
Hey,
aside.
speak your mind. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, political allegiances aside, if you want to be, I think, the best business person and realtor or mortgage broker, whatever you want to be, you got to be informed. Like, it is about politics. So what? It doesn't really matter. Everybody's views are different, but I mean, you should. I think anybody should watch that video and actually
watch it
pay very close attention, because when was he got announced on the 28th on April 5th or May 5th. She drops an absolute bomb on a demand list and said she is moving along and she will not stop. And to be honest, I know he's in Washington right now with big hands. Yeah. And I honestly think the next thing he needs to do is take that plane right to Alberta and sit down for, I don't know, a week, however long it takes, and hash this out. Otherwise, you're going to be shocked.
At least he'll have an educated
He actually builds task force that are going to act on the task.
And I think it's going to be great. It really is. I'm quite excited for it.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be huge.
Okay, everyone, that is our show for today, this week, whatever it is. Episode 7 will be here next week, and we'll talk to you then.
Thank you.
Tune in, subscribe, like us, all that fun stuff. Yeah. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Good boys.